Namaskar, good afternoon, Jay Mohanji, and welcome back. So it's been a year since I stopped doing the Facebook Lives, and primarily because I think we had, in a way, thought that we are coming out of the pandemic situation, getting back to work, getting busy in other aspects of our lives, and therefore I thought, okay, it's time that I take a pause. Yesterday, incidentally, what happened in the last 1 month is Facebook would throw up the memories of the live sessions that I conducted last year. And yesterday, one such session popped up, which was very close to my heart because it was also a session where we celebrated Poila Boishakh, which is the Bengali New Year. So 15th of April is Poila Boishakh, incidentally, every year. So Shubho Namu Varsho to all my friends, belated. And it also kind of gave me the enthusiasm to restart the session on certain things which I have been deliberating. 2020 and 2021 in a year have been years of a lot of self contemplation, and if I were to say, I invested a lot of time in myself. And therefore, it's been on my mind for a very long time that I want to share this with my friends, my viewers. And therefore, with that intent, I kind of reached out to a few people and said, let's start or let's resume the Facebook Live sessions. So I will be going live at 1 p.m. every day from my profile. Not every day, I'm sorry. So it'll be 1 p.m. For Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays from my profile, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from the Mohanji India profile, where I will talk about certain things that I have experienced in my life in the last 1 year, and we will also do the Gayatri Mantra chanting 108 times. Why the chanting? Because it does have an effect of elevating our energy levels and awareness. It improves the group consciousness, like we say, when we do it in a group, and I am expecting that my friends and viewers who are watching this would do it for some short span of time, not the entire 20 minutes, because it kind of can be quite a lot for those who are chanting it for the first time. But the idea is that we improve slowly, gradually, improve our levels of consciousness, and also help ourselves deal with this current situation that we are in, which is also not constant. It will change, but as we wait for it to change, as we wait for India to get better coverage of vaccination, and as we wait for the numbers to come down, we can do some chanting on a daily basis to elevate ourselves from where we are, our energy levels. How will the sessions be different from last year? Well, this year, what I will do is I will talk about some of my experiences in the last 1 year. Like I said, that I've spent a lot of time on contemplation, spending a lot of time with myself, and I would say investing, like I said, on myself. And therefore, I wanted to share those journeys or those stories. I also spent the year reading, and therefore there are certain things that I feel that if, for all of us, we may not have the time to read a full book in a day, but if I can highlight certain areas which made an impact to me, and if it resonates with any of my friends and viewers, then they can pick up those topics and read. There are certain books which have had very intense impact on my thought process over a period of time, and therefore I thought it is good to share such knowledge. We will follow it up with the 108 chanting of the Gayatri Mantra. Mondays are an off day for the live sessions, because Mondays I have started doing Mahamrityunjay Jap. Mahamrityunjay is also good for removing the shackles of karma and reducing negativity in our lives, and Monday is the day for Lord Shiva. So therefore, Mondays are for Mahamrityunjay, which I do live at my house and at 6 p.m. in the evening. So those who want to again join in for creating a group conscious or for elevating the group consciousness can join in from their respective homes at that time every Monday, 6 p.m. Okay, so starting the session for today, that was quite a long introduction because it was the first session of 2021. Today, what we are going to talk about is to the journey within. And those of you who are connected on WhatsApp with me, you might have noticed that my WhatsApp description for nearly the last 6 to 8 months has been this tagline, this phrase called to the journey within. Dot, dot, dot. Why dot, dot, dot? Because the journey has still not over. I probably have not reached the destination. It will take a while, but what it has done is it has brought in a lot of peace for me within, you know, and it has kind of helped me deal with very high energy situations in a calmer, not very calm, but in a calmer way. Probably having less hangovers when I'm dealing with a very high energy situation. And that itself, for me, I have assessed month on month on month, and I have felt has been something which I would like my friends to try, to experiment, and to reach that level. Where did this journey start from? So many years back, when I initially met Mohanji, and often we used to, I used to say, if I had a query or if I had a question to ask of him, I would find it, sometimes I would find it naive, sometimes I would find it in the way that I'm bothering him, or sometimes I would feel that if I'm repeating a question, he may get angry. And therefore, I would always start the discussion with him in a very apologetic manner, or saying that I kind of am scared what you would think if I ask you this. And to which he always, every time, replied that I don't judge you when you ask me certain things, or I don't start forming opinions about why you are asking me. My whole focus is on trying to help you resolve those queries in your mind. The reason he said that he doesn't get into those elements because he sees everybody, or he sees himself in everybody, and therefore when he sees himself in me or any other disciple, he doesn't have the tendency to get angry. And he would extend, or he would end the conversation by saying that the day you start seeing me in everyone, like the way you wouldn't get angry or you wouldn't get perturbed, or you wouldn't get anxious, eager, restless when somebody else does you to do something. If you start seeing me, you wouldn't get restless when I ask you to do something. You would rather be motivated. The day when you start feeling this for everyone else around you, then you would see yourself in everyone, and therefore you would never get angry with yourself, because we are what we think we should be, rather what we think we are, rather than we trying to be what others think of us. And this was many years back. Somehow I used to kind of find it complicated at that point, because we've grown up, right? We've grown up thinking that all of us have personalities, all of us have traits, and therefore they make us, they mold us, they create our barriers, and therefore we should be what we have grown up to be. But the fact is, over time, when I started going deeper into this, when I started reading more, and when I started spending more time asking questions to Mohanji, slowly I kind of realized that we create these barriers, right, for multiple of reasons. One is when we are growing up, our entire upbringing is based on, and which I would also pass to my daughter, I'm sure, is on forming our personalities, right? So the society, the parenting, our families, they in a way, along with the culture, they also form our personalities. This was very well explained in the book The Sapiens, which is why I really swear by that book, because the writer Yuval Noah Harari, he kind of actually explained it in a very colloquial way as to how over thousands tens of thousands of years, how the societies, when sapiens were hunter gatherers, from the time they became nomads to the time they became they formed villages, kingdoms, and societies, countries, how it has helped in conditioning us and forming certain barriers for us, and therefore the personalities that we are today are actually not our real personalities that we are born with, but what the society has conditioned us to be. So that became clear, and therefore I spent a lot of time in 2020 trying to understand what are the shackles in my mind that I should be breaking. Have I been successful? Probably no, but at least the first level of being aware, or trying to accept what it is, and then starts the process journey of shedding them, and then starts the next journey of being highly conscious, and therefore probably those things don't exist in our lives, but the journey starts. And therefore, in fact, one of the things which I thought this year I would like to do is make this more interactive. If my friends and viewers would like to share some experiences of how they have discovered themselves and how they have been able to shed their inhibitions in their life, they can write on my profile. We can have a two-way communication on this. We can help each other kind of break this further. But yes, the journey that has begun to discover ourselves, which is the true self of what we are, is something that continues. It's a lifelong process, and it should continue. And today's talk is all about trying to first accept that we have personalities which have kind of become barriers. Once we accept, then we get into the next step of identifying what they are. Once we identify, then we increase our awareness to see how we can break those barriers. And once all of this is done, then we kind of become lighter versions, like Mohanji says, of ourselves. And when we are lighter versions of ourselves, then we flow. Life flows for us effortlessly, like a river flows. And when a river which is flowing, free flowing, hits upon a rock or a mountain, it doesn't kind of try and break that rock or the mountain unless the force is too high because of the friction. But what it does is it tries to maneuver itself, because water doesn't have a form, and take another way or make another way for itself. So that is how human lives are meant to be, or dealing with human beings are meant to be. And therefore, when you kind of take that journey inside, one of the things which really happens is we become lighter. Does it mean that we kind of shed all inhibitions in one go? No, it doesn't. It takes time. Does it mean that we can consistently keep doing it? Not again. To be able to consistently do something which is breaking our barriers, or breaking those conditionings that we have been subject to from the time we were born, we have to constantly elevate our own self and consciousness by either mind practices like meditation, or reading a lot and getting into serious contemplation, trying to be with yourself. So one of the best ways of starting this journey within is spending a lot of time with yourself, which I used to find it very difficult. Like, I remember 10 years back, if somebody told me, other than reading a book which used to be mostly fiction, or reading something relating to work, or kind of improving my own knowledge for my practices, which is mostly professional practices, I used to find spending time with myself very difficult. I thought, who does that? I mean, does anybody spend time with yourself? Human beings are social animals. You're meant to make friends, meet people, have fun, talk, and do your work, but you're meant to be busy. But in that busy business, we forget that there is a journey that we are missing on. So when I started this journey, one of the primary things I did was I started spending a lot of time with myself, which initially it was very difficult. Okay, and this whole process for me started, say, sometime around 2016, which, as I said, in the last 1 year I have really accentuated my practices and my efforts towards this. But when I started doing this, one of the primary things I used to find difficult in accepting is, hey, I have nothing to do, so I'm spending time with myself. So think of it, for most of us it becomes so difficult to accept that we are spending time with ourselves. We are just sitting down and thinking, contemplating. I mean, in 2016, I used to find it really difficult to accept, because it made what I thought that if I accept, or if I kind of propose this to somebody, or if I discuss about this with my friends, they will immediately tell me, hey, you have nothing to do, you have no friends to talk to, you have no one to hang around with, so that's why you're spending time with yourself. So it was a difficult acceptance. Okay. And that's how this process started. And then I started taking a cup of tea and looking at the sunset, and it became something which I enjoyed, because initially having a cup of tea was probably about having company, sitting down with someone, chit-chatting, sharing the day. But when I started doing this, I started enjoying the sunset. I started actually noticing how the sun moves from the horizon and kind of sets every day. And with that came thoughts, with that came ideas, and slowly the time span that I spent with myself started going up. And then I also noticed that I kind of didn't feel apologetic about accepting the fact that, hey, I have a lot of time in hand, I am spending it with myself. So yes, I'm free, probably I'm jobless also for some time, but that is something I can deal with. And I did not feel the need to explain why I am jobless or why I have free time. During COVID 2020, when it started, the year started actually with a lot of activities that I had planned, like all of us that we do. There were a lot of things that was lined up in 2020, and boom comes March 2020, and like they say, man proposes and God disposes, and everything went into a back burner. Initially, it felt like it's for 30 days, and then it felt it's for 45 days, and by June, somehow most of us got around to thinking, no, it's probably the new normal, it's a way of life. And therefore, at least me, I kind of thought that whatever I had planned in 2019 for things to happen in 2020 may not see the light of the day in 2020. Maybe it'll be 2021, maybe we don't know what it is. And therefore, for the first time in June 2020, I started thinking, hey, I have to start doing or looking at a different path, professionally, personally, whichever way. So my point is, after all the efforts that I had put in a project in 2019, I would not have been able to do this had I not been in that phase of contemplation, where I had gracefully accepted that things are not going to work the way it is. And without getting perturbed, disturbed, restless, I actually got down to researching that professionally, even so personally, what's the next path in my life. And I can bet my last penny on the fact that 5 years or 7 years back, had the same thing happened, I would have got bonkers thinking about what to do in my life. I would have thought I'm a complete failure. I would have thought that I will not be able to show my face to anybody, because I have to again tell people I have nothing to do. So this whole piece, or this whole sense of self-awareness, only came to me when I started the journey within, to myself, understanding myself. Now, this is one part of it, which is more about acceptance, which is more about peace. The other part of it is how we deal with human relationships. Maybe that's a broader part, and I will take another session on that. But that is what is most important, because when we start understanding ourselves better, which we also start understanding our relationship and dealing with them better, dealing with pitfalls better, dealing with more than good times, dealing with bad times better. And it also helps us kind of understand why things work and why relationships work and why they don't work, which eventually leads to a lot of peace, and which we probably need to kind of take it in the next step. But I think the reason why I spoke about the professional part today, because again, we have come to a situation due to the pandemic that some plans that we have made may kind of stop abruptly. Some plans may go on. We may need to find another way. We may need to find a third way. And therefore, how do we do it? By kind of maintaining the peace within. That's what is most important. Again, I would like to tell my friends that if any of you have experiences to share on this journey, please do write on my profile. Probably if I can continue with these chat shows for a longer period of time, I'll also set up a YouTube channel, because I believe it's easier to interact. The reason I'm asking for those inputs is, while I say this, maybe I'm also not there yet, and I may learn a few things when I read about others' journeys. I think that is the most important thing. When you give and take, the learning is much higher, and I would definitely want to learn. Like, I would want to deal with situations much better, and I would want to for me, primary, like everybody should have their own goals. For me, the primary goal in life in the last 1 year has been to maintain my self-peace, and it has given me so much clarity, because whenever I get into a situation, professional or personal, I may not be dealing with the situation to the T at that point in time, but when I step back and when I contemplate, at least I have clarity on the next steps to take, so that I have peace. So my primary objective being peace. Similarly, someone else would have had some other primary objective, and what have you done to reach that? And if you've been successful, then you've been able to understand. So the journey inside has been successful, and therefore it's a learning as well. On that point, I think I would like to share one last thing. So a very good friend of mine gifted me a book this year, and like I said, last 1 year I have spent a lot of time reading, and there have been few books which have impacted my life, and those books I go back and read over and over again. Typically, what has happened also in the last 5 to 7 years, our span of attention because of social media has become so much lesser, that when I sit down to read, invariably after 5 minutes I will want to check my WhatsApp. So I'll have those ants in my pants, as I call it. So that's another point where you should focus on when you take the journey within, that how do you keep your attention span on. It just switches off WhatsApp. So probably one needs to delete WhatsApp over a period of time, but right now we are not in a phase where we can delete WhatsApp, because it's become an essential part of our lives. Having said that, I have been able to read better this year. Not what it used to be 10 years back, but still better. So this book, while it talks about, again, so this book is more about taking the elements of Bhagavad Gita and giving. So the writer has given a very practical and management way of taking certain elements of Gita and applying it in your day-to-day life, right? And I would give all credits to him, because though many of us are into reading of the Gita or on our own spiritual journey, but the way the book has been written, the same thing when it has been explained in a very and probably it's also my style of reading, so I like things explained in a very colloquial and management style, since I come from a corporate background, so I find it easier to relate to. So it has made a lot of difference to certain concepts which I was trying to improve, but yet not there. So it made a lot of difference. So there are few things, I just underlined, which I wanted to read out for everyone. And I will take separate sessions on aspects of karma, on aspects of dharma, because we have very convoluted ways of thinking that they are very complex topics, but they are actually very, very simple topics. But right now, what I wanted to share is a few lines from the books. Okay. So first line which made an impact, which is very useful when you want to do this thing about taking a journey within, is, who are you, or what are you, or who am I and what am I. So the writer says that there are two lies some of us hear when we are growing up. So it is all about conditioning. The first is, you'll never amount to anything. Obviously many of us would have heard it, especially Indian families, and we don't get good marks. Hey, you'll never be this, you'll never do this, blah 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 blah. So it goes on. So that's the first. It's a lie. It's a conditioning, but it's not the fact, right? The second is, you can be anything you want to be. Okay, now think deep within. When our parents, or most of us, are growing up hearing that if you want to be something, you can be, right? Now the writer says these two are primary lies which we grow up hearing all through our lives. The truth is, and he says, is you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything that you are. So let me repeat this, and this needs a lot of contemplation. So anybody who's interested actually can take their cup of tea this evening and think about these two lines. It's the truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are. And to be everything you are, you have to know who you are. And to know who you are, you have to take that journey to yourself or to within. A monk is a traveler, but the journey is inward, bringing us ever closer to our most authentic, confident, powerful self. There is no need to embark on an actual year-in-Provence type quest to find your passion and purpose, as if it's a treasure buried in some distant land, waiting to be discovered. Your dharma is already with you. It has always been with you. It is woven into your being. If we keep our minds open and curious, our dharmas announce themselves. So it is quite simplistic and yet very deep if you really want to think about it. And why did I start the session with this topic? Because this has been the topic which for me started many years back when first Mohanji made that statement that I don't get disappointed with any of you because I see myself in each of you and I don't get disappointed with myself. So for us to reach that state where we're not disappointed with ourselves, we have to know ourselves. We don't, and for us to know ourselves, it's a very, very deep journey. This book just reiterated that entire concept in a much more simplistic manner, and therefore I related with this paragraph a lot. So while my journey is not over, while I'm not yet successful, while I have not yet been there, while I still have my pitfalls, I would like to keep this thought with all of you that start this journey, share your experiences with me. We can actually have a two-way communication where your experiences can help me and my experiences can help you reach the state where we want to be. And what do we want to be? We have to be everything that we are. It's more about what we are and less about what we want. Right? So like if I were to kind of relate this to Maslow's theory, because again, many of us who've been in the corporate, especially HR and management and strategy, often go back to Maslow's theory of need and want, right? So where it clearly says that wants are something which are not inherent. They kind of come from conditioning, whether it's societal, whether it's emotional, or whether it's intellectual. Whereas need is something which is inherent. You need it to survive. So focus on your needs and not on your wants. With that note today, we will get on with our chanting. I know I have taken a lot more time. And I will do 108 Gayatri Mantra. You're most welcome to stay with me and listen to the vibrations for some time. Otherwise, you can hear it whenever you listen to it whenever you have the time. But I would strongly encourage all of you who follow these chants to practice it for the next 1.5 months, to improve the energies around us, to bring in more positivity, and to help people and give some positivity to those who are going through a tougher time in this pandemic than what we are, because we are blessed. And I am very grateful for that. At least we have a home. We don't have to think about 2 square meals a day. Our families and friends and their families are safe. We pray for their safety. We ask for Mother Earth to calm down. And we thank her for all that she has given us. And we continue this till the time we can, so that we can spread this message far and wide. With that, few deep breaths. And we shall start. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. And the last three we will chant slowly. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Thank you to all of you for joining. We shall continue, like I said at the beginning of the video, we shall continue every day other than Mondays. Monday is a live chanting which I do at my house, and few of my friends join me depending on the situation. Otherwise, every other day I'll be live on Facebook, Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Mohanji India page, and the rest of the days on my profile. With that note, I would say bye for now. Stay safe, stay home, stay safe. For those of you who cannot be at home, take all the precautions. May the Lord be with you, and we shall come out of this situation stronger and hopefully safer. Thank you. Namaste.